تابعنا مع حضراتكم وصول السيد الرئيس عبد الفتاح السيسي.
We have followed now the arrival of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi for the new headquarter of the French Language International University, Senghor, and we are waiting. He has hosted today the General Secretary for the Organisation Internationale de la Francophonie and the Prime Minister of Burundi and more political and academia personnel. Now we are in the headquarter of the new headquarter of Senghor University in Burj Al Arab City. This new environmental and educational headquarter has been established in 1990, invested in the African nations by providing great education and training in order to build good leaders and capabilities in Africa, able to lead and able to be there to lead in the field of sustainable development in their own African nations. The headquarters of Senghor University, we are seeing in front of you the arrival of the guests of this event, and of course 35 ago it was the same scene, having a lot of officials and political and academia men arriving to Alexandria to inaugurate the headquarters in Alexandria. After all these years, we are opening a new headquarters which is more scalable, have a large number of students, not just African students, but also the French language speakers of all the international countries, not just African countries, but different countries. So let's continue together the opening of this new educational headquarters. It's a very great campus, educational campus. It's not just an educational institution to be open under the presence of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and his counterpart, the French President Emmanuel Macron, and a large number of political and economical and academia and educational high-level personnel and from different countries. Of course, this is a kind of a project that could build the African citizen by upgrading their own levels of capabilities and build the capacity in the African citizen, because he is the main formula and the main formula to achieve sustainable development in the region and to save the SDGs in the African continent. Under this great history that links among all these cultures, this historical irrigation for this new headquarters for Senghor University, the French Language International University, and the Service of African Development here in Burj Al Arab City, New Burj Al Arab City, in order to a great importance in strategic wise for the higher education system in order to add more to the Egyptian soft skills here in Egypt, and also could contribute to achieve the main component of it, which is dialogue among cultures, international cooperation, and also it's a great formula upon which we're going to depend on to meet all these cultures. This is the main objective of Senghor University and Alexandria, the French Language International University, in service of African development through preparing good qualities and good capable Africans happening to follow all the academic criteria. We can say that through these updated and new and high technological buildings being there, and we do have the developmental library that has much of digital and text magazines and books and periodicals. Under this perspective, we're going to have a digital center and a lab towards achieving a great leap in the field of digital transformation. This comes in order to achieve the strategic digital plan here in Egypt through the University of Senghor in this new headquarter in Burj Al Arab. It works to achieve what is related to academia distinctiveness through including AI in the curricula in the education forces and strengthening what is known with the social impact of these capabilities through training them and also assign them in the governmental departments and African leadership offices in their own countries, and supporting anything related to economic cooperation which aims to achieve the main goals related to sustainable development. Yes, development in the African continent, and also to provide good solutions full of innovation and creativity under this great environment upon which the university is providing great solutions to comprehend and also combat all the challenges that African nations are facing with these innovative mechanisms. Thank you. And now we are going to talk more about Senghor University. Let's explain more. Who is Senghor? Yes, no one knows who is Senghor, upon which this university is being entitled to. It is Leopold Sédar Senghor, which is the first president of Senegal after independence since 1960 to 1980. But he was a poet and a literate man. He was a cultivated one. He was one of the founders of new and modern Francophonie, and was supporting the French language and French culture in order to commemorate his own contributions in the field of French language. Of course, this university has its own name since its own establishment since 1990s. The new headquarters of this university is more scalable than the previous one. It has many hectares being provided by the Egyptian government for Senghor University. The main strategic aim and objective of making this university in a large scale is not just to have more students of numbers, but also it has strategic dimensions, whether from the Egyptian side or the French side. Yes, having a great coordination and communication between these African students and Egypt, this could put Egypt as a continuous coordinator to provide a great coordination from the Egyptian side and other African nations. Thank you. This cooperation that you have just mentioned affirms the main objective of the Senghor University in order to be achieved. As we have mentioned, the main objective of Senghor University as it is a culture bridge and represents an academia platform, not just depending on the academia side or the knowledge perspective, but also having a practical application in order to achieve international cooperation and coordination, and to have this dialogue between different cultures. And this is one of the main objectives that Senghor is playing. Senghor is playing under the Organisation Internationale de la Francophonie. So this new headquarters is going to be opened as it represents a Francophonic and Egyptian partnership and expresses a great experience in the higher education perspective. So the Organisation Internationale de la Francophonie, Egypt has been joined it since 1975. It has 88 members of countries, have the main and chief partner countries, and some countries are working there as a monitoring countries. Senghor University is playing under the OIF and playing to achieve the objectives of the OIF. This OIF has many objectives related to have culture and language diversity among member states, and working to strengthen peace and democratic and human rights principles and achieve economic cooperation to achieve all sustainable development goals. It is the main objectives that Senghor University is planning to achieve through working on having great African leaders, highly qualified and more responsible and credible to work through capabilities to face all challenges that could be the bottlenecks of the sustainable development in the African continent. And the ecosystem of education here in Zuku University, it is many methods and perspectives. It has the institutional visits for all different situations, including governmental institutions, departments and private sector, in addition to also supporting anything related to exchanging students and providing professional training, and anything related to scientific conferences and webinars to be held. So this could help us more to speak more about this headquarters. Yes, we do have many halls to provide teaching and learnings. It has high qualified technological methods. We have many halls and rooms equipped to launch different conferences through video conferences. We have a large number of PCs. They are working to indulge AI into the academia ecosystem. So it's a realistic cultivated soil that could help upgrade the African upgraded way of engagement in education here in Egypt, in order to help the African student to be more creative and be more innovative, because this is the main pillar in this education process happening here on the lands of Egypt through the French Language International University in the service of African development. Now Emmanuel Macron is here to participate in the inauguration of the new headquarters of Senghor University. It reflects French state interest towards this university, not just to support the French language but also to support cooperation. France's role in the African nations cooperation. And Emmanuel Macron will go after today's visit to Kenya and Ethiopia to attend in Kenya a French-African summit in order to meet bilateral meetings. Yes, France is giving great interest towards Africa. It's not a new interest, but it was there since previous times, since having this Frenchman on this continent. But having this Frenchman in our own continent has different shape, not just about coalition, guys. We're talking about France of Rake state, as we used to speak about it, but now we're talking about Emmanuel Macron to call for a bilateral coordination and cooperation based on investment and cooperation in developing in the human resources. And France is now supporting Senghor University with 60% in its own budget, and we do have France and Senghor University in a strength manner could support the French existence in the African continent. And of course, it's a great engagement among both the African region, Egyptian era, and also with the French people during his own in-office period of time of Macron. So Egypt is a main gate in Africa. So having Senghor as an university in the African continent and having it in Egypt, it has many dimensions. Yes, France enriches the French rule and know the impact of the Egyptian government on all levels, political-wise, security-wise. So having universities such as Senghor University with the French support, it reflects a great French-Egyptian cooperation, mutual cooperation towards the African continent. It has a strategic interest towards both countries, and we're here to speak more about the Francophone interest here in the area, but cannot be achieved without having youth. So in order to deal with youth, we need to have a new engagement methodology in order through applied programs provided by master degree programs through Senghor University in order to encounter the African development related to the sustainable development, and also have the applied technologies and updated AI methodologies. And this digital pathways of education. So have this integration that includes modern and contemporary technology and environmental and education methodologies also to achieve sustainable development in the African continent. This is the main core of Senghor University's curricula. Senghor University is not a traditional university, but it's an international platform to achieve developmental goals in the African continent.
جامعة سنغور الفرنسية الدولية للتنمية الأفريقية التي يتم افتتاحها.
Senghor University is going to be inaugurated here today in Burj Al Arab City. This educational building, which is the main place upon which we're going to have the African dimension and also the Francophone extension, it could help to achieve a great dialogue among cultures and among also different nations, or anything related to programs to be trained and to be learned through this Senghor University. These departments related to the SDGs through development, culture, environment, health, all these things are one of the main departments to be studied in the Senghor University to achieve the SDGs in the African continent. Of course, they manage the social heritage and also the new biology diversity and anything related to governance and management sciences. It has a very important role to be played as it aims to achieve all the SDGs in the African continent. It has also main departments related to international nutrition and general health. All these departments are going to be studied in Senghor University. It achieves to have a scientific base and also cultivate a comprehensive one for this African student or any student who is participating here in Egypt. So they are preparing to have high qualified leaders and qualified scientifically and socially and and practically through having different visits institutionally and building to have a kind of a social impact. So Senghor University is trying to do such an impact through the capabilities who are studying in this university. This could come through making them having great leader offices in governmental institutions, international organizations, and some of them could be ministerial posts. This could happen. This had been done previously. So this university has a lot of great impacts on the education and academia and higher education in order to achieve the sustainable development. And we're having a very proud persons to say that it's been here in our own Egyptian land, full of heritage and history, of modern history. Of course, we are speaking right now on His Excellency Emmanuel Macron, the French president, who's going to be here, guest in his second home. We can recall the previous visit from His Excellency that has a lot of messages and intentions that he has visited Khan al-Khalili district that could tell more about the great ties between Egypt and France, and we do have great visions that could link both parties that could tell that there is a great significance of this relegation of this university in Burj Al Arab city for the new headquarters of Senghor University, the French language international university, and the service of African development. As you have just mentioned, this visit could recall the previous visit of His Excellency Emmanuel Macron, and the relationships between both countries has been translated into having bilateral agreements to be signed. So we have conducted the economic French summit in Paris, and the presence of His Excellency Tariq Dahroug, the Egyptian ambassador in France, and also have representatives of foreign trade and foreign affairs ministries in order to tackle together how they're going to deepen the great ties among countries and the investments opportunities, and having great market for the French economy here in Egypt, and also upgrading the exchange of trade among countries. So this forum is going to be conducted in order to stand together how they're going to deepen the ties of relations among these countries. This objective is not just to speak about the benefit of the African continent, but also towards the world's interest. Yes, European countries seeing that achieving this objective has a great perspective for both the French side and the European side. It supports stopping immigration, illegal migrations or legal migration. It could stop the impulses upon which the African citizen could lead to other countries seeking education. So Senghor University is playing a very important role to support the education perspective. Yes, so we are here taking the interest of the African continent and the international interest. But now let's speak about another point, how Senghor University in Egypt could benefit the national interests here. Yes, having such a university here in Egypt is at the interest of the citizen here in Egypt, yeah, supporting the Francophone community here in Egypt and supporting French languages. This could open many scopes of different job opportunities in different French corporates. Having great Egyptian leaders could work in different foreign countries that could enhance our own role as Egyptians in different countries. So this could strengthen the Egyptian role. also benefiting from the applied searches in order to use them in facing the challenges and solving many issues and problems in the African continent related to climate change and environmental issues. This could support Egypt to be there on the front, because Egypt is providing very solutions for the challenges that the African continent is facing. Yes, now we're going to have a great glimpse of the African leaders to attend here in Egypt or in Alexandria to strengthen the impact, the Egyptian impact in the African continent. Yes, great interest that Egypt could benefit from having such thing that's here in Egypt. And also the African personnel and citizen has a private relation with the idea of how to deal with Egyptians. There is a kind of a friendly tie and joy having this African people here in the Alexandrian community and Egyptian community. Yes, this campus is providing hotel hospitality for a lot of missions provided from Africa to support to be enrolled in Senghor University in Alexandria in Egypt. Now we are in the university campus. It's a big campus and it's a very distinctive event. We are very, very thrilled and feeling proud and appreciated. Yes, Egypt is appreciating the Francophonic and French existence of such a university here in Egypt.
جامعة سنغور الدولية الفرنسية للتنمية الأفريقية.
The French Language International University in the service of African development as the new president of Egypt for the African continent, as the present provided by the Egyptian government to the whole world to inaugurate the whole campus of Senghor University. Its own aim is to upgrade its own scalable capability by providing 10 feeding new to the whole headquarters of the Singapore University. It has a very important role to play in order to achieve the SDGs in the African continent through this new headquarters. It has all these high qualified tech buildings, and it has also all the comprehensive housing and hostel, and also the large spaces for anything related to sports and games in order to help students to entertain themselves, to achieve entertainment as the very main goal in order to make their own life here very oriented in order to tackle all perspectives related to diversity, academical wise and also the sports wise, in order to have a great full comprehensive scientific base at all levels that the African student or any student could be here studying in Senghor University in the new establishment will enjoy in new Burj Al Arab city. Of course, this is the new site and headquarters of Senghor University in order to achieve the SDGs. This will strengthen the role being played by the university in order to achieve the strategic goals upon which it aims to what is called academia or academic distinguishedness in order to integrate all new upgraded technologies and AI in the curricula and this education processes, and also have a great diversity in the field of education and these systems through providing institutional visits and use scientific webinars and scientific conferences. And we have also high qualified rooms that could be more scalable to have large number of students, and after they have upgraded the capability or the capacity of the university to include all these African students in this new headquarters, it works to have great grads each year being received every year through this university that could have 200 students of over 25 African and European countries, and we do have 17 branches of this university in different African and European universities. We do have more than 4,000 in more than 44 universities. Most of them are African countries because this university is concerned with African development. This is the strategic plan being provided, and its own aim as a single university is to play, which is own concern, is to provide great service for sustainable development. This university, through this strategic plan being set, which aims to achieve applying this agenda, and previously has managed to achieve it, it has managed to be a strategic post in the education, higher education ecosystem, or anything related to international cooperation and also achieving cooperation among different cultures, and shall be a good platform for all different cultures from here, from Egypt, beloved Egypt, and specifically speaking from New Burj Al Arab city. We're speaking about Senghor University. The campus, the new campus of Senghor University, it has 10 feeding as a capacity, and to put it like this, all the buildings here in the new headquarters remind us with French universities outside Egypt. And of course we do have a great stand here. We have on our own right a great mega conference hall, have have more than 74 seats, and we do have 16 rooms equipped with high qualified technologies and video conference systems in order to upgrade their own capacity of students to log into these sessions online. We have a big gym, we have a big pool, and we have different games platforms, and we do have also different guests rooms to stay, and all these things could upgrade the education processes in order to strengthen the existence of this educational institution and the teaching methodologies. All these things is not just about entertainment, but it's about methodologies to support the educational system and to make the output of education here at its own best shapes. Emmanuel Macron really came to support La Francophonie. So France is supporting the University of Senghor with 60% of its own budget. This support comes after a French strategic plan, and Senghor is one of the great tools of this strategy, supporting university, supporting education, supporting youth. This is the main input, or this is the main engagement with France with a new life and new world. So this is the new methodology being taken by France years ago in order to upgrade its own different aims. Yes, France now is dealing with the whole matter as a partner, part and parcel of every support and investment academia, not just to benefit from the project, but or even to control over projects. But the main engagement of France right now is to have a different perspective, which could say that the African French summit to be held in Kenya, while Emmanuel Macron will go to Kenya to hold this French and African summit for the first time in East Africa area, speaking African, not just French spoken area. So it doesn't reflect the new strategy of having French existence here in the continent. France wants to be there in each continent or in each country of the African continent, not just in any country who speaks French, so France wants to be there, to exist in each country in the African continent, and Senghor University is one of the main